Hello everybody, I'm the Trailbox Gamer. Welcome back to Minecraft. Let's see, last episode I kind of cut it quits. There's that village idiot again. That's not being mean, that's actually what they're called. I'm pretty sure they're called the village idiot. I mean, they're kind of useless, so yeah, it fits. I don't think I have enough cobblestone for the house. Times like these, I wish I had a bed. I also kind of wish I could skip through this, but oh well. So let's see. Last episode, I went off several topics. I'm mainly talking about phobias because I got just transfixed on the idea. I mean, I still am. Like, I made a mistake last episode because typically when I do my recordings, I do them in like a bundle, a bunch. So when the first episode gets posted, I'm not going to know any responses because I'm already recording this episode, so whoops. I'm not saying that I'm not going to reply or anything. It's just, if you have any questions or you want me to look up a specific phobia, it's probably not going to be announced in this episode. Just keep that in mind. Again, I think I kind of allude to the fact with the whole creation question at the end of the last episode saying, hey, if you want me to make something, just leave it in the comments. I'll get to you later. Like, we're not gonna know about it like until a specific one. I'm just like, again, not too sure because we have a lot to go through. I'm trying to think how many I could do. And the last episode, I said maybe 30, but the thing is, I don't feel too confident with 30. I really don't feel too confident with 30. I think we're going to be here a little while longer, but I will eventually get back to everybody. So if you want to say something in any of the videos, just, leave a comment. Hopefully, I'll remember. I really do hope I'll remember because I am not that great with memory. That's one reason why I'm not a big fan of history. Like, I hated math, but I was good at it. History for me, it wasn't my go-to class. So, I mean, I'm not saying I was bad at it. It's just like, I'd say it was like a neutral class, not really a least favorite class, but yeah. This one time in high school, we had this, like, I forgot the subject. I think it was like the Industrial Revolution or something. And it felt like we were on the subject forever. So when we had our, like, I would say like a final paper for it, I was just so done talking about the subject that I said, you know what I'm going to try to do? I'm going to try to lie. And don't do this. Like, try to put some effort. But the younger me did not care. So younger me decided, you know what, I'm so tired, I'm just gonna straight up lie about my project. Well, I guess lie is too strong of a word. So, if I recall, I don't like this. I mean, it's not bad looking, but I don't think I want to, like, this as my house. Hold on. So, if I recall, we were supposed to do a paper on the, like, Industrial Revolution. And one of the things that we had to do was, like, we had to go online, we had to write down what we learned, we had to mark down the sources, blah, blah, blah. Pretty easy. I'm just done with the subject, like I said. So instead of looking up anything, I took what we've learned from, the class, and I wrote it down, and, like, I think it was, like, you need, like, 3 paragraphs, something along those lines. And then, that's it. So I just, like, basically summarized what we've been learning the last few weeks. And then I got it back, and I was expecting, man, I didn't really do what the teacher asked. I'm probably gonna get a low grade. Kind of like this. I'll go with this. This looks nice. So, I was expecting to get a low grade because I didn't follow the directions. I got a B. And the only reason why I was marked down to a B was because I didn't list down any sources. which is fair because I didn't use any sources. I'm the source, teacher. I mean, I don't think this would really count as cheating. I just used the material that I learned throughout the weeks. I mean, technically, I just didn't do the extra work. But it was still good enough to get a B, so, that's not that bad. And after that, one of my friends, if you see the other videos I do, there's one with Bioshock. Again, it's not for everyone, so there's some language in there. If you see those videos, Lorenzo, he's the friend I'm talking about. When I told him about it, he gave me the nickname Mr. B. Not because of Bioshock, but it was short for Mr. BS. And then we had like this one song where it was like basically a parody of You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, just like replaced with BS instead. I don't remember the exact lyrics, and to be honest, even if I did, I can't sing this here. Liking how the house is looking. I mean, still a fixer-upper. We have a bit to do, but I like how it looks. It looks pretty good. I mean, I didn't hate the class. It's just like we were on Industrial Revolution for what felt like a long time. I think I called the class. It wasn't a class based on it. It was a history class. I'm sorry. I don't want to give that misconception, but no, it just like felt like we were dragging on too long with it. Speaking of classes that felt like it dragged too long, freshman English, we were given like Romeo and Juliet, and oh my god, I hated going through it because, see, instead of reading it on our own at our own pace, the teacher there, she had us do like a group read thing, and then another reading like using like the voice, the narrator. The narrator to me was boring. I almost fell asleep because the narrator was like that deadpan. I was like, God, why? I could deal with the whole weird old English thing, but you're kind of killing me here. You're making me fall asleep. What I didn't like is that you had to wait for everybody. You just had to wait for everybody. If you went ahead, like, we didn't get our assignments until we were done group reading. So even if we were, like, say, done with Act 1, and everyone's, like, still at the very beginning of Act 1, we had to wait, and it was just so... It was just so boring, in my opinion. Granted, I mean, if I was tired that day, I would use the opportunity to take a nap, but, you know, if you got caught, you don't hear the end of it. It's like, please, just make it go a little faster. Can you go a little faster? Have us read on our own and then check in on us like 30 minutes or something. I'm using your bed. But, yeah, it's just... I think my least favorite part of it was we had to do projects based on the play, and look, it's just... It felt like an eternity getting through the book. Like, it's not even that long with the version that we had. Like, it's just like, I would say, like, maybe a few pages, and we took forever on it. So, by the time that we got to, like, any of the projects, I would have completely forgot about what page it was, what the quote was, because I'm waiting for everybody. So, I would have to reread, and since I'm not that great of a reader, I'm kind of, like, I need to read it slowly, otherwise I misquote it, or I, just misinterpret the meaning, so I have to carefully reread it. But, basically, we would have our own little project that we do. I remember one in particular was that we had to reenact the scene from the play, and God, there's so many. Well, we didn't even get to pick our own scenes. The teacher picked it for us, so that, no fun creative there. And then we had to pick the roles that we were playing. Unfortunately, despite there being 2 other girls in my group, they didn't want to be Juliet. So guess who got to be Juliet? fun. I swear, these characters, to me, Romeo and Juliet are just a headache. The whole woe is me thing got old when I read it the first time, and then hearing someone else read it got even more old. And then, hearing it on the audio, the narrator, it made it so old it could drink. And then after we were done with I forgot, I think there were some writing prompts, some other projects that weren't that great, because I don't exactly remember what the heck we did. Again, my memory's not always the best, but I do remember the more annoying of the projects. After all of that, we got the movie of Romeo and Juliet. Not just one movie. We had 3 versions of the movie, which, okay, it seems a little excessive. I kind of wish we did something else. If we're going to be learning about, Shakespeare, let's go to the next play that, is available. But then again, I don't think this is more of the teacher's decision. I think it's just with the school on, what they want us to go through. So I can't really in good nature say that's the teacher's fault, really. Let's see, for the movies, we had this old one. I don't ask me who was in it. Don't ask me who directed it. I'm not the guy who should be asking for that, because I'll just give you a blank look and a confused stare because I have no idea. But it was an old version of it. Then we had a one where it's a gangster version of it, weirdly enough, which I think out of all the 3, that I thought that was pretty funny. I thought it was pretty good. Granted, that's we watched them back to back, so the first one was done, then we popped in the next one, and then we had Romeo and Juliet. And at that point, I kind of was already checked out with the movie. I mean, don't get me wrong, movies are great, but when you watch the same story 3 times in a row, it's just kind of just, you get what I mean. It's if you watch something 3 times, okay, first time's great, second time's, I'm kind of, ooh, this looks cool to explore. I have to come back here later. Actually, I guess I could explore a little around. I don't want to go too far, but at the same time, I do need a lot of material. I do need some building materials, so this is a good place to start getting it. I'm not a fan of this block. I'm not a big fan of this block. But I feel like I have to get around it eventually. But yeah, 3 whole movies of Romeo and Juliet, I was kind of just checked out at the end of the whole movie. It's it's the same. I wouldn't be if the questions that were asked any different between the movies, because we get writing prompts at the end and we have to write our response, but it's the same writing prompt for all 3. It's it's boring. Kind of boring. And then this was more recent. I'd say it was a couple months ago. Maybe not a couple months ago. Maybe almost 2 months ago. One of my cousins, she popped by for a visit with my aunt and uncle. And she's doing some homework, and I'm like, oh, hey, what homework are you doing? Maybe I could help you. And she says, oh, it's English. I'm in high school now. I'm like, no kidding. You're in high school. Let me guess, Romeo and Juliet? And she's like, yeah, how'd you know? I was like, I honestly didn't. I just remember I had to do it with it in high school. And seeing, I mean, that was a shot in the dark, really. Followed by me asking her, hey, you think it sucks too, right? And she's like, yeah, it sucks. And then after that, I just made a mock summary of the whole play. So, it all started when the Mardi Gras and the Catapults have some beef with each other or something. I don't know why. I don't think it said anything, and to be honest, I don't remember. I really don't remember. They just have a real hatred for each other. Well, one day when Catapults, having a party or something, the Mardi Gras son, Romero, comes by to basically come over and chill out, I guess. I mean, it's kind of weird. That's your father's sworn enemy, but you're just gonna go there. But I think, if I recall, he had some sort of disguise. But that disguise, well, kind of just blows out of the water, because one of the Catapult boys, I wanted to call him Cantaloupe. We're changing it to Cantaloupe. one of the Cantaloupe boys recognizes him, and I think I forgot the name. We'll call him Tempest. I'm pretty sure it's Tybalt or something, or maybe I'm getting the characters wrong. But anyway, they recognize him, and they're about to throw hands, but Lord Cantaloupe's all like, nah, he's cool. I mean, yeah, that's the son of my worst enemy. And I'm starting to think that I'm actually actively collecting this. I mean, I wasn't paying attention for the last minute, but now I'm thinking I have a plan for this. Past me, I don't know what you're doing, but just know that I hate it. Unless it's something smart. But, yeah, no. Lord Cantaloupe's all like, no. Despite that being like Lord Mardi Gras' son, Romero's kind of cool, so let him chill at the party. And while that's going down, Romero over there, he's like simping hard for this one girl named Rosa, something Rose. I don't remember, I don't care. It's literally for one page. He's proclaiming his undying love for her, and then along came Jello Cantaloupe. And then he turns his simp card to a simp card prime. Because then he starts simping for her despite not talking to her once. And basically just meeting her. But, you know, she sees him and she's all like, yeah, I'll simp for him too. He seems kind of cool. And then they talk, blah, blah, blah. Tempest over there is getting pretty angry about the whole thing. I think Romero brought some of his friends. I think it's Benny, good old Benny, and his cousin Mercedes Ben or something, and they're all like, yeah, this is a great party and all, but the Cantaloupes, they're getting kind of angry, so we're gonna bounce like Romero. But hey, if they give you trouble, we'll like cause some distraction so you could have more time with your new lady friend. You ungodly simp, you. And then oh jeez. Anyway, Romero's pretty cool, so he's talking to Jello, whatever the heck her name is, and they're hitting it off until it's revealed, oh, he's a Mardi Gras and she's a Cantaloupe. Well, awkward, but hey, they kind of hit it off too well that they're like, yeah, you know, we could probably make this work. I have a question. Do you know why your father hates my father? Because honestly, no one ever told me anything. They just say that they hate each other. And then Gelatin's over there. She's like, yeah, same. I don't know why. Wow, we have so much in common. Simp meter activated. And basically, they decide, yeah, we'll meet again. Blah, blah, blah. More dialogue. What's her face? Nurse. Nurse. Gelatin's maid or something. I would assume she's nurse. Because, you know, if you're named after your profession, it would make sense. But I could be wrong. I didn't really care for this character because she's basically at first she's like, oh yeah, Romero over there is a catch. You should definitely go for him. And then later on, like I don't know how long later, but almost immediately it feels like she's like, nah, ditch him for Paris because there's this one guy in named Paris. I don't even think did he had any lines. I think he was just like a non-intentional roadblock, really. I don't recall. I honestly don't, but whatever. Basically, they're crying about it or something, and then they meet again, and they have that scene where blah blah blah. Hey, a fox on a tree. Basically, the conversation between the two has them where they're spending the night, having a sleepover with each other, in quotations. And well, I think Romero gets caught by Timbus or Timble or whatever name I gave him. And that caused a fight between him and the Cantaloupes and the Mardi Gras. They get into like a little fist fight or something. And who died? Who died? Because this fist fight turned into more than a fist fight, and somebody died. Two somebodies died. I think it was Tipple, whatever the heck name I gave that guy. Mercedes Benz. Yeah, Mercedes Benz died. I think it could have. No, I don't think it was. I don't think it was Benny. I think it was definitely Mercedes-Benz. So those two died. Things between the Cabbage Patch and the Mardi Gras, they're not, like, they're in more hot water now. I think at this point, Lord Cabbage Patch, he's kind of really angry this time, and he's now thinking Romero's not that cool. I don't recall exactly what's going on. Small details here, blah, blah, blah. Gelatin and her nurse, they have the scene where talked about where Nurse Switcheroo there says, hey, you might as well go with Perry because, Romero, he ain't that good for you. Even though, like, a couple scenes back, I said, yeah, he is good for you. You follow your heart. That's not any confusion for you or anything. Yeah. Then go to the scene where Romero's, like, belly aching to Friar Lawrence. I think that's the actual name, and I can't come up with a funny one for that, so he has the honor of having his own name. And he's doing the whole woe is me, boo-hoo session, boo-hoo. And I can't tell you how many times I heard that scene on replay because, I don't know, it just feels like it's on a cycle, and God, I hated that scene so much. But anyway, some more blah, 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 I don't recall. My memory's not great with this. This is why I'm surprised I did well in history. Then there's a scene where Gelatin's all like, yeah, I have a plan, Friar Lawrence. I'm gonna pretend I'm dead so that my family thinks I'm dead, and then I'm gonna, I think, run away with Romero? And Friar Lawrence provides her the poison, the quote-unquote poison, and she puts her plan in action. But the one thing that Gelatin over there failed to do was to inform Romero. So the next time they meet, she's, like, asleep, but to Romero, he thinks he lost her. He so is stricken by grief that he drinks some poison. Did he also have poison, or did he take the poison for there? Like, okay, my question is, was it a poison that if you only drink a certain amount, it put you to sleep, and then if you drink more of the amount, it killed? I think that's how it went. I know I'm pointing out details that are probably pointed out in the book, but I don't remember it, and I'm just thinking that's probably what happened. So he's seeing the poison, he chugs it, and then he goes dead. Conveniently enough, after that moment, Gelatin over there, she finally wakes up, and she's shocked that the boyfriend that she didn't form her plan of fake death kills himself over the grief of her death, and she takes his, you know what? I'm not that kid friendly. She basically does the same, except not the poison, the safe. It's not the easygoing way of the poison. It's the sharp edge of his own dagger, and ends herself that way. And then the Cabbage Patch and the Mardi Gras, they see this, and they're like, dude, I'm sorry of the loss of your son, and Mardi Gras, I'm sorry for the loss of your daughter. Like, this would never happen if we were, like, cool with each other, so from now on, we'll be good friends. I just have a question. Why were we fighting again? And then Lord Cabbage Patch himself is like, I don't remember, and blah, blah, blah. That's the end of it. And then my cousin, she told me, Anthony, if you were to submit that to my teacher, you would have gotten an F. I'm like, but I got most of the major points right. And she was like, you were both accurate and inaccurate, so yes. I'm like, that's all that matters. I give my performance 5 stars out of 5 stars. The reviews are in. Everything is positive. No one thinks it's stupid at all. So that's great news. It's gonna be also adapted into a movie series. Yes, that's right. It's a series. It's not only gonna be after the death of Romeo and Juliet. I mean Romero and Gelatin. It's also gonna be from the points of views of the other characters. It's gonna go for a spin-off, and it'll all be on Netflix. So nothing wrong could go with that. If I were to make a Netflix show, however, I already have an idea of a show idea. It's called Birds on a Wire. And so basically, the whole show is that it's just like filming these birds that just hang out on a telephone wire, but it's literally just a bunch of birds. Oh, who's gonna stop by on this episode? Is it gonna be the crow or is it gonna be the blue jay? Ah, it's the crow. He makes some noises. He flies away. Ah, good episode. Can't wait to see him in the sequel. The season finale, like all the birds throughout the whole episodes just pop on by and then fly south for the winter. Yeah, that's the season finale. There's no commentary at all. It's just I. Sorry. I mean, it could work. Granted, I don't know why you would pay Netflix for a show like that. You could literally just look outside a telephone pole and see it in real life. I could see people trying to make merchandise off of it. Like, yeah, get the birds on a wire T-shirts. Who's your favorite bird? Is it the crow? Is it the blue jay? Is it the pigeon? I don't know any other birds at the top of my head. Let's go with that. They'll be the main characters until they, either go away or die off, one or the other. Actually, a fun fact about crows. I think it's crows. Maybe I'm thinking of ravens. There's a difference that you can tell between the two. Is like you look at their tail feathers and they're shaped differently. So that's one way. I'm not sure there's any other ways, but that's one sure way of knowing what a crow and a raven is. But I've heard that I've actually seen them learn how to make other noises than bird noises, like full on talk, like not full sentences like I am doing, but like saying words. I mean, can you imagine you're walking home? It's probably like late at night. You think you're alone, and then you hear like a murder crow, which is, by the way, what a group of crows is called, which doesn't make the situation any better. Imagine you see like a bunch of crows above you and they all start like saying stuff and it's like, what the heck is all of this? What word would be the most horrifying for them to say? Honestly, with the situation, they could literally say anything. I could guarantee you that I jump out of my skin because that's kind of horrifying. Especially if I don't know where the sound's coming from. That would, like, leave me kind of... that would scare the living daylights out of me. I was about to say it'd be kind of funny if they all started saying Nevermore, but then I remember the poem's called The Raven, not The Crow. So I failed on that reference. I mean, I would think that maybe they have the same learning patterns too, like, maybe. I'm not too sure. I'm not an animal expert. I'm sorry if I can't confirm or deny that. But let's see, it was late one night. I was walking home. Again, no, there's no, like, demonic talking crow, so don't worry, it's not that scary. But I was walking home, it was night. I think I was coming home from a friend's house. And, well, there's this dog that was, like, walking opposite of me, going down the road that I just came from. And without realizing what I was doing, I turned towards the dog and I say, hey, you should go home. And then I turned my back on the dog and I started walking home. And as soon as I heard the dog start, like, continue walking, I realized that I made a crucial mistake. Number one, I turned my back on an unknown dog. Number two, actually, the first mistake was having my presence known. Mistake number one there. Mistake number two would be turning my back on an unknown dog, because you never know. So, I heard it start walking, so I turned to see where it was going, and, well, the dog scampered off home, I guess. Huh. Or I would say it scampered off home because it started going towards a house. But who knows, really. Now, that's not the only dog encounter I had. One day I was walking home. Again, a lot of these stories happen when I'm walking home. I just came back from the store, which started selling fried chicken, and I love it. I mean, I guess now they're not really doing too well with it because it's kind of a little more spicy than I prefer, but, no harm, no foul. It's just, the only problem I have with it now is, like, it kind of sits like a rock in my stomach, and I don't care for that too much, but, again, if I had such a problem, I wouldn't be buying it. So since I don't have a problem with it, and I keep buying it, it's not an issue. But I'm walking home, got, like, a thing of fried chicken with me, and I'm about a corner away from my house. I look towards my house, and there's these two big dogs roaming around, and I know they're big because even though I'm far away, they look pretty pretty gigantic, and I'm like, oh, of all the days to be walking home with chicken, why did it have to be the days where dogs are running around? And I'm like, okay, just stay calm, See, the thing is, if you show fear, they can smell it on you. At least that's what everyone says. So I just remained calm. I walked normally. Didn't pay them no mind. They didn't pay me no mind, which that kind of tells me that either A, they're not hungry, or B, they're so happy about running around playing. They don't care that I have potential food on me. Which means that they have a place that they eat at, or at least I would assume they have an owner. Honestly, I was told that they do have owners, and I kind of, it kind of makes me feel a little sad. It's like your dogs are out there running the streets, and I know that like the road that they're running on, it's a very dangerous road for them to run on because people just like they speed on that road. I mean, I get you're probably not home, but if this happens more than one time, do something with your gate. Like, don't just ignore it. Your dog's gonna get hurt. And it's like, do you care or like what's the deal? Like, if my dog managed to get out of her fence, the place that she could run, I'm gonna see what the heck's the problem, so she doesn't do that again, and so she doesn't get hurt. But I can't tell you how many times I've seen these dogs like just roam around, and I don't know, it's just a little heartbreaking. Also, I had bad experiences with, like, if you can't tell, since I know that street, it's my street, I have seen pets do get run over. One of them was mine because, well, he got out. And, well, it just happens, you know. I'm gonna move away from this subject because it's kind of bumming me out. We don't want to have a bum out session here. No, if we wanted to do that, we go more about tragedy of Romero and Julius or Gelatin or whatever the heck their names are, right? So let's see, what are my plans? What the heck is up with the audio? I can't tell if that's my headphones acting up. I really can't. But if the audio sounds weird, please let me know. And if it doesn't sound weird and you think I'm just overreacting, I'm sorry. We can look up the phobia for weird sounds. Hold on. And that would be called misophonia. I would have probably mispronounced it and called phobia on reflex, but no, it's phonia. It didn't say it was weird sounds. It just said specific sounds, so I guess that would fall under it. Again, not saying that we're making fun of these phobias. It's just something to look into, like something new to learn about. Like I never heard about it until I searched it up. So, And again, if you want any one of them checked out, just like leave a comment. Again, this is like recorded in a bundle, so if I don't respond to your comments, it's not that I'm ignoring you. It's just it'll be after insert video here probably. Depends on how many I do today. And the game's acting weird. I can't tell if it's the recording or if it's my computer at this point, and we'll muscle through it. It's not too bad where I can't talk, so lucky us. But at the same time, it is kind of weird that it's happening. Again, I'm sorry if it's distracting. It's just like that sometimes it can't be helped, and this is one of those times where I can't help it. Let's see, another phobia that I have would be arachnophobia, which is a fear of spiders, and I had that ever since I was a little kid. See, one of my family friends, I witnessed them get bit by a black widow, and since everybody was freaking out, that mentally scarred me up until I'd say maybe last year. I would say that last year I kind of, well, I'm not saying that my fear was always like ridiculously high, but I was definitely afraid of like black widows for a long time because, from my perspective, if you didn't get cured right away, you died instantly. But mind you, I was like 4 years old, so that's why I had that belief. But anyway, we were going someplace. I forgot where we were going, and I asked, "Hey, are there any like black widows up there?" Because cautionary, I would ask what type of spiders are there. But I default to black widows because that was where my fear began. And they said, "Yeah, there are." So I was thinking to myself, I spent a good amount of my years being definitely afraid of these things. I have to look it up. Like, how serious is a black widow bite? And, well, there are rare cases where you do die. It's actually easily treatable if you get to the hospital, which is why they instantly went to the hospital. But it's not as bad as I thought. And when I realized that, I kind of felt like an idiot. I was like, all this time, I thought it was very fatal when, it's not that serious. I mean, don't get me wrong, don't quote me on that, because it is a rare chance of it giving you, like, a bunch of seizures, but at the same time, like, kind of a relief, honestly. And you'd think that would, damper my fear of spiders a bit, right? Look, just because a black widow's not as bad as I thought it was, doesn't mean that there's not another spider that is a whole lot worse. And one of that spiders is called a brown. Is it called a brown recluse or a brown recluse? Anyway, their bites leave holes in your body, so that's a big note from me. That's a major note from me. Then a lot of people, they made fun of me about this fear. Granted, with how overdramatic I was with the Black Widow thing, I can see why. But the thing is, you need to understand from my point of view. Number one, spiders are typically small, meaning you could easily lose them. Number two, like with the Black Widow, some of them have venom. And number three, it's sneaky, alright? I don't like my chances with that combination. I really don't. I've yet to be bit by one, but I don't want to test, I don't want to tempt fate. I really don't want to tempt fate. On the bright side, I would say I got better with it, because as a kid, every spider, except for the wolf spider for some reason, this jumping wolf spider, I was kind of cool with for some odd reason, but every other spider just made me, lock up, completely frozen. Even a daddy longlegs, so it was that bad as a kid. But now I'm better with it, I'm cool with it. Don't get me wrong, I don't actively mess with them, I want to actively go and, mess with the spider, but that's, on common sense. You don't just go, poking at things that could bite you. Unless you want to get bit. But, that's my whole ordeal with spiders. Not sure what to do currently, because on one hand, we have a lot of stuff, but it needs time to, build up, heat up, whatever. I'm taking this. It's fine now. And I'll take this too. I mean, I don't need it, but you never know when you're gonna need it. Alright, there we go. I think that's all the fears that I have, or at least all my phobias. Actually, I guess I would say I'm afraid of the paranormal, but I wouldn't say that's a phobia. It's like I defined, a fear has rational to it. I would think that I would think it's very rational that you don't want to go and actively mess with something that could hurt you without you fighting back. You get what I mean? You go and mess with a ghost and it hurts you, you can't fight back. But for, just to be fair, I'll go and see if there's a phobia named after it. Hold on. I don't know why I was I should have probably figured that, like, I probably should have called out that it was probably phasmophobia. There's a game called it. Probably should have seen that one coming, but I still had to get a look at it just in case. But my question is it really irrational? Think about it for 1 minute. Something that you can't see nor touch comes into your home and messes with you. That sounds horrifying. And I would like any chance of those things to not be in my house. Which is why I don't like a Ouija board in my house. If I see it, I will throw it out. Do not tempt me. I will. I mean, I guess, okay, if we're gonna talk, if we're gonna be technical, it's only covering, like, ghosts and spirits. Like, they can't do much other than, like, scare, annoy, or bother you. Like, they can't hurt you. Unless it was a demon. Which, again, I wouldn't want to deal with, so I think that fear is actually... Is there a difference between the two? Hold up. I'm also gonna look it up again. Hold on. Huh. There is a difference. Demoniphobia is... well, the same thing, only with, like, demons. Again, is it really an irrational fear? I mean, I guess the description said just by the mere thought about, demon depiction of it, like, it causes fear, but at the same time, I would think that's what they're designed to do, right? I mean, evil creatures are supposed to be scary. Like, no duh. Would you call it, I mean... I guess depending on some people, maybe they're just like too irrational with the fear. Yeah, I could see that. Personally, I wouldn't say I have an irrational fear. It's just like I don't want to chance it. Like, because, okay, ghost or spirit, it's a headache. Demon, let's just say, by the sounds of it, I wouldn't want to, deal with that. I mean, who would? Like, it's why I said earlier, it's something invisible and you can't see it, but this time, it has added benefit of being able to hurt you. Now that sounds, that sounds pretty not fun to me. I think I've had, like, maybe a couple paranormal experiences that I can't explain. Save for, I was probably just, like, tired and I imagined the whole thing, because that's, logically, that would be the only explanation I have, but how many times can that be used as an excuse before it just doesn't make any sense? Am I right? Like, you can't keep using that same excuse, because eventually there's going to come a time where it just don't work. So, the first quote-unquote paranormal experience I had, and, when I go into these, like, experiences, I don't want to say it's outright a ghost, because there's this thing called energy. See, if you give it too much negative energy, it becomes more powerful. That's the typical belief. And hey, those are actually growing out pretty nicely. So, that's why a lot of scary things, when it goes down, it's a lot powerful, because, it's just natural to be afraid. However, in theory, if you say, this is normal, you kind of get rid of the power. So try to do that. Again, in theory, I wouldn't go out and test it myself, because I'm not willing to risk it, even though chances are nothing would really happen. But, again, why go and poke the bull and get the horn, like I mentioned prior? I don't want to do that. So, I was a little kid. And again, this is why I say that I was probably just tired, because I was about to go to sleep. That's why I think I just was too tired. So I was sleeping in a bed. It's kind of hot. It was one of those nights where it's kind of hot. But at the time, at this age, I wasn't comfortable with sleeping without a blanket, so I would just deal with the heat. However, there's like this crack between the bed and the the bed and the wall, and I can stick my arm down it, and the wall, it's nice and cool. So I decided, to compromise for this, I'm gonna put my arm down it. I'm gonna feel relaxed. I'm gonna go to sleep. As I did that, something grabbed my hand and tried to pull me down, and I pulled back, and that woke me up. I figured I was most likely, I'd say I was dreaming. And you would think after that I would not put my arm back down there, but little kid me was not a horror movie fan at the time, so I did what everybody in a horror movie would do, and I put my arm back. You're probably wondering why I did that, since that would normally scare any kid, right? I did it because I thought whatever was down there wanted to hold my hand because they were afraid to go to sleep. Yeah, it's kind of a miracle it didn't kill me. Or, it's a miracle that it was nothing but my sleep-deprived mind, because if it was a monster... Imagine you're... Oh, hey, I'm planting the trees back, finally. It's only been a good hot minute, but imagine you're a boogeyman-esque monster, and your job is to drag kids under the bed and scare the living daylights out of them. Imagine you fail to do so, and then the kid that you failed to scare actually puts down their, hand again. How would you respond to that? I would think I was being mocked. I quit my job. I'm sorry. I'm just done. I tried to be scary. I don't think that was a good place to place you, no. I tried to be scary, but this kid, he's mocking me. I'll find my work somewhere else. Thank you very much. And the monster world lost the scare. How sad. Put you right here. There you go. I don't know the growing requirements. I don't think it'll grow there, though. Would it? At this point, I'm just placing them down randomly. If they grow, they grow. They don't, oh well. But yeah, that's one experience I can't really explain, other than I was tired, but it just don't really feel like it works that well. But again, you're a kid, you have an overactive imagination. Could, be explained as simple as that. Trying to think of another example. One time, it was the dead of night. I'm not good when I have insomnia. I'm an insomniac. I can't sleep well sometimes. So I'm having one of my nights where I just can't go to sleep. And I hear in a quiet voice, "I can't breathe," and that scared the heck out of me. I was like, "What's going on?" And then I realized, as I'm going, this is before I had cable TV, so I couldn't just put something on. I had to play a DVD, or I had to play a movie along those lines. And the movie I was playing was the B movie, because it's not that I liked the movie. It's just it felt less work just to keep replaying it rather than change the DVD. So I kept having it on, and eventually it helped me fall asleep because I've seen it so many times. Well, that line was from the old granny that got knocked down by those, what was it, the ATH guys or ATF guys? And when I realized that, I felt so embarrassed. I was I got scared from the B movie. I'm never gonna live this down. I hope nobody ever finds it out. What do you mean? What do you mean night? It's raining. I'm pretty sure I could go to sleep during a thunderstorm, or... Wait. This isn't a thunderstorm. But still, I thought I could go to sleep during, when it rains. The heck? Well, whatever. This guy gets to go to sleep. If I can't sleep, you can't sleep either, farm boy. Ow. But yeah, that's that whole memory. Another one of these little misadventures. Again, it's not proving that my fear of ghost things, because at this point everything had a logical explanation to it. I mean, I'm pretty sure everything still does. It just feels a little less likely because of the context. But continuing on, so this is like, I would say maybe a year later. Like, at one point we got cable, so now I have TV. I could just watch TV. And it was another night where I was having another little insomnia thing. So, oh hey, that tree grew. Nice. So I'm just up late watching TV, and all of a sudden, the channel just starts changing all by itself. And that, without knowing what's going on, freaked me out. So I'm standing there, trying to wonder what the heck's going on, not sure what to do, because it's like, it felt like out of a horror movie. So I tried backing up from the TV, not knowing what to do. I decided that the first best solution would to calm down and go from there. So I sat down, and then I hear like this little clutter, like something fell. And when I looked down, I saw that it was a remote. It was wedged between the couch cushion. And the TV stopped, changing. And then I put two and two together. Figured my TV wasn't haunted. Then I was fine. I was embarrassed. And then after the embarrassment left, I started laughing. I mean, it's a relief. I'd rather it not be a ghost. Hello, village idiot. Nice to see you too. Why don't you walk away? You can't think of a good insult that's family friendly, so I'm just gonna stop right there. I'll be taking this. I need my own bed. And I'll be taking that too. Not that I need it, but it's because I kind of want it. So let's see. Those were the times where I thought I had a paranormal experience, and, well, I guess the first one, I don't... You could kind of blame it on me being tired. The others were just, like, silly little things that happened that kind of scared me, but really was nothing to be afraid about. So, what about moments that kind of left me kind of clueless? Well, let's see. It rarely happens, so... It rarely happens, and again, I feel like the excuse that I'm just tired can fit this little, oh, hey, you got a costume, that's cool. Sorry. But I feel like the excuse that I'm tired, it doesn't feel too fitting with this. Mainly because I think it recently happened. Like, not really recently, but I'd say maybe like it happens every now and then, like once in a blue moon. And again, yeah, maybe I am tired. I'll just get to the point. You're probably wondering what the heck I'm talking about. But, see, sometimes when I walk through my living room, sitting on a couch, I see this dark silhouette of a girl. And it's always at the corner of my eye. Again, I think that's why it's probably because I'm tired. Because it reminds me of the, what do I describe it as? Like the inky block that checks on me in my room. Like it reminds me of that, but thing is, it happens randomly. And if I could get it to act, like if I could get it to happen in a pattern, then I'd say, okay, yeah, that's explainable. But no, it's just like once in a blue moon it happens, and it kind of makes me a little nervous. Nothing bad happens, but it just takes me by surprise. Again, I would say it's, yeah, probably just me being tired, but to a less extreme it was all those years before. I can't tame you yet. I can't tame you yet. I will find a way. And before you say that, hey, foxes can't be tamed in Minecraft, look, I could corral it into a building of my choice, and it'll be my pet that way. We just have to agree to disagree, okay? So, yeah, that's, I guess, no. You could probably say it is explainable with, well, I'm just tired, but it just feels different. I mean, best case scenario, I'm just tired. Worst case scenario, there's something in my house, but like I said, it only happens once in a blue moon. So, as long as it's cool with just like sitting in the living room, chilling on the couch, I don't think I have a problem with it. If it starts moving and doing stuff, then I'll have a problem with it. To be honest, it probably could just be like listed under, hey, you're just tired, get some sleep. I mean, it could be like, the thing is, I'm not tired when it happens. That's what's throwing me in a loop. Like, usually this stuff happens when I'm, exhausted, but my sleep schedule has been better. So it's like, that's what's throwing me off. Let's see. I don't actively go out to any place that's haunted. I like to stay away from that as much as possible, so I haven't gotten into attractions like that. A couple of my family members, they have. Here's a story that they told me. So they went up to this haunted house, this supposedly haunted house, and I'm gonna use quotations on that. And they told me that they stopped outside. The thing is, this house is supposed to be abandoned, but when they got there, the lights turned on, and I don't remember the story with it, but apparently, like, it's supposed to be like gone out. No one's supposed to live there. That kind of jazz. And my thing is, I'm thinking it's probably just like a story where no, somebody lives there, but because of this rumor, people like constantly go to the house in the middle of the night. So of course they would like turn on the light to see who's like parked out, and that's what happened. But no, when they got there, the light turned on, and like with the whole rumor, no one's supposed to be there. So that's just like my intake on it. Like, no, somebody lives there. It's just like, you're scaring them more than they're scaring you, really. So that's their story. Can't really think of anything else. I mean, there's this old legend where there's this old road, and I was a kid, like I was a little kid right here, right around this time. But my mom, and she went down that road. See, the thing is, if you go down this road, there's this ghost car that follows you, dangerously follows you. So, again, I was like young. This could be explained like it's a bad drive. I might like this block a little better. I might keep this. It's a lot simpler. But, like I was saying, logically, it could just be a bad driver, but everybody that goes on this road says that it happens to them. So, unless there's a series of bad drivers that happen to, follow every person that goes on that road, I would say that there's not much, like, that's the only explanation that I could think of, but the likelihood of that always happening, I mean, I guess it's not that impossible, but, I mean, imagine everybody that takes that road, they're just, like, followed by one bad driver. So the rumor keeps feeling like it's more real every time. And imagine there's like this cult that wants the rumor to be true, so they have like individual walkie-talkies. It's like, okay, yeah, we see someone going down the road. Cue horror. I guess the only part that doesn't make sense to me is that even though they could be on your tail throughout the whole like ride, at one point the car light like it just disappears on you. But then again, it's dark. They could just turn off the headlight and then just chill and, get their thrills like that. I guess, I mean, huh. Well, thing is, I wouldn't be going down that road anytime soon, I can tell you that. Mainly, it's also because it's out of my way. I don't see myself actively going down said road, so it's not going to be an issue with me. I'm trying to think of another story that I heard from family members or friends. I'm trying to think of, like, if it's easily explainable or not, too. There was this old story, and again, it's an old story, but from family members' recollection of the story, there's this old abandoned house, and I know that's cliche for a lot of stories, but the thing is, with this house, it has this unique location. So there's this like little lake. Well, not that little. It's actually pretty deep. There's this lake. Maybe it's not a lake, but this body of water. And in this body of water, there's like this little island, and in the middle of this island's like this house. And people say that it's haunted because people who lived here before drowned or something. And if you try to go towards this island on boat or swimming, you could feel like their hands just like grabbing you, pulling you down. And I would say that's probably just a rumor, because none of the accounts that I've asked that, heard about this house, they never really personally go, except they heard it through a friend who had, but they, nothing really happened. I mean, I don't know. That's like he say, she say kind of thing, where you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. So I'm just gonna assume it's a rumor, but I just wanted to share that because that kind of is a scary story. I mean, it feels fitting to share it when we're discussing this, but at the same time, I think it's just explained that it's probably just a rumor more than anything. I've seen the house before. I think it looks pretty cool. I wouldn't mind living out there, but getting from point A to point B would be a pain if you just had to do a road. But I think I would probably build a bridge like I'm doing right over, like I did with this house over here. Other than that, I can't really think of any other like really scary, unexplainable stories. Like I think everything I've said had some like logic to it, like what really did happen. So I feel like I'm failing on delivering that. I mean, I could think of one, but I guess I do kind of get a little sad when I talk about this. So I'm not too sure I feel like I want to share it, but it's like, I had a cat, had him for a long while. I had him for like 18 years, and he did pass away, not recently. He's been gone for, I say, a couple years. So when I mention him, I do get I still get upset, but I guess if I were to tell a story, this would fall into the unexplainable. I mean, nothing's never unexplainable, but just hear me out. So, one day, we're just hanging in my room. He's relaxing. I'm relaxing. At one point, he gets up. He's got to do his stretches. He's an old cat. He gets up, and he starts going underneath my... Okay, thank you. You're now a thunderstorm. Can I go to bed? I would have liked this about a few moments ago when I tried to, but I'm busy. I also like the timing of that when I was talking about this story. Nice. But eventually... What are you doing? Oh my god. Can you swim? I assume you're keeping your head float. So, here, let me just help you out. Go towards the land. I would hit you to push you, but the iron golem would probably not like that. So, keep going. Keep going. You're almost close. There you go. Not towards the water. Get on the land. Get on the land. You're testing my patience. Get on the land. I wish I could hit you, but you're small and not that bright. So just keep going that way. Go. On the land. Don't you dare. Oh. Whoa, hey. Where did that strike? It feels like it was close. It looked like it was close. Don't you me, kid. Look, I built you a semi-bridge. It's big enough for you. Go on. Go on. I like how I was telling a scary story, and now I'm dealing with your antics. You're killing me. You're killing me. You're killing me. There's a bridge right there. You have to... Yes, there. I was about to say you're probably going to grow up to be like a village idiot with your level of comprehension, but... The last horse finally crossed the finish line. Thank God. where was I? Right, a horror story involving my cat. Okay, so he gets off the bed, he's stretching, he goes under the bed. Nothing unusual for cats. Cats like going into, areas that might seem weird. So, everything's normal, I'm still chilling, I'm relaxing. All of a sudden, he starts bolting. Like, he bolts straight out of my room, like a bat out of the fiery depths of heck. And I'm sitting there confused because what the heck happened to him? So I go checking on him. And this cat, he's like, something spooked him. Something spooked him. I'm like, are you okay? So I try calming him down. After a while, he calms down enough. So I was like, okay, come on, let's go back to the room. Let's hang out. And that's where the weird thing happens. He absolutely refuses to go back to my room. And, okay, maybe out of context, that might not sound weird, because, animals are picky about where they come and go. But the thing is, my room's his room. That's the only place that he sleeps. So when he's refusing to come into my room, that's, like, setting off a red flag. Like, what's wrong, buddy? Like, are you okay? You're kind of giving me a little concern. So, since he refuses to come into my room, I just let him be. Maybe he'll come back on his own. Maybe he just needs time away. Because I don't know what spooked him, but he got spooked. So I'm not going to force it on him. He did not come back to my room for 3 days. And in those 3 days, maybe it's just having him not around made me a little paranoid. But it felt like something was wrong with my room. Like, when I tried to sleep, it felt like there was something... You know that feeling you get when, like, there's something near you or somebody around you, you, like, kind of feel that presence? It felt like there was something under the bed. And I figured that's just me being a little paranoid. My cat just ran out. I'm just overthinking things, so the best to do is probably just ignore that feeling. That's how I thought, that's what I thought to do on the first day. Figured by the next morning everything would be normal, but that feeling never went away. So, the second day came around, I was like, still not feeling normal in my own room, which is kind of annoying, really, because, I like my own little room to be normal feeling. So, the third day comes around. Still, nothing's changed. It's like, what is wrong? Like, typically, okay, I've been paranoid before, but never for this long. Plus, my cat still hasn't come back to my room, so that's also a little off-putting. On the third night, I decided to do what every horror movie villain, does in this situation, and look under the bed. Granted, I think the first night they would have done it, but for me, I waited till the third night. So, before I did so, I made sure I was somewhat prepared. Now, it's not like I had, like, the Holy Bible on standpoint just to help me cleanse any, evil spirits that are in my house. And even if I did, it's not like I know exactly what to read. With that being said, I also don't have a vial of holy water, and I'm pretty sure there's a way you use it, like you sprinkle it in some places that are, where evil lives or whatever. I'm not an expert in that field. I'm not entirely sure. But what I do have, see, for one of my birthdays, a relative gave me a cross. What's better is that this cross is also made of silver. So not only am I, if you choose to believe this superstition, not only am I safe from evil, I could also do damage to it because, evil things hate silver. So what I did is I wrap it around my hand, made sure that the cross was, like, in the dead center, so my middle finger, so if anything were to pop up, if anything was under there, I could give it a sock in the face, and hopefully, in theory, hurt it. And if you're thinking, hey, that's not gonna work, you're probably right. It probably wouldn't work, because when I looked under there, I saw nothing. So either A, there's nothing there, or B, I can't see it, with my own eyes. I would need something special to help me see it. But since I don't, I saw nothing. At this point, I feel irritated. My cat's not coming into my room. There's this feeling that there's something wrong in my room. I'm kind of hating it. So instead of letting my anger consume me, because honestly, the only reason why I really wrapped up my knuckle with the cross is because I really want to punch something for scaring my cat. So after I calmed myself down a bit, again, I was kind of, at this part, a little angry. So I calmed myself down. I'm not dropping the cross just yet because I would have the feeling that if I did, it's like whatever things in here with me would be like counting on that. Yes, drop the cross. Drop your only protection, you fool. So instead, I held on to it. And I decided to like do what I see in those videos where a priest comes to the house. I basically tell it to get out of my house. Sorry. I'm surprised the Iron Golem's now trying to rock me up a bit. I guess it's because it's the Wandering Trader. It doesn't care. How sad. But anyway, yeah, I basically say, hey, you're not welcome in my house. Get lost. But, you gotta say it with authority. And if I come to an understanding with this kind of thing, you can't, like, curse it out. Like, you can't challenge it, but you have to, like, no, you can't challenge it, like, because if you challenge it, it's gonna want to meet that challenge. You have to set your own authority with it. If you do believe in this kind of thing. So, yeah. And the second I did that, I felt like the feeling just kind of left. And when I woke up, my cat was, happily in my room again. So, let's kind of unpackage this whole ordeal. Starting with my cat. So, he was old. What I could see happen is that maybe something brushed up against him and he got scared, resulting in him, just like running away. It's just like that's explainable. What isn't explainable is that he avoided my room for 3 days. I don't understand why he would do that. I mean, I guess if he was really afraid, that would be the answer. But it's like, I guess I would rather have it be where it was something I could deal with rather than maybe my cat just getting too old and, getting dementia. And that's, something I'd rather not deal with. I think dealing with a ghost would probably be a lot, easier on my heart. At the time, that's my thought process, but chances are that's what happened. But anyway, after that, why the other things happen, I would say that probably the whole paranoia thing is probably the plausible cause of it, because, when you're paranoid, your brain plays tricks on you, so that could be the reason for it. The only thing that I can't really explain would be my cat coming in after I did my whole quote-unquote showdown with whoever the heck was in my room. Hi, you're not gonna hit me, right? Okay, yeah, he's cool. He doesn't care if I hit the Wandering Trader. Good to know. I guess maybe it's just a coincidence that he felt safe to come back in, and we could, just, settle on, yeah, it's just a coincidence. I guess, really, this was more easily explainable than I let it on to believe, but, compared to every other experience, I'd say this one just felt very off to me. Then again, I guess, like I said, when it comes to this subject, I try to think logically. That's my logical argument for what happened. However, I would say this experience would probably be the first instance I was actively ready to square up against a ghost. Typically, I would not mess with anything I can't see, but no, this time around I was ready, just you scared my cat, I'm gonna go all John Wick on you. And we've been here for quite a while. I mean, I could take a pause now, but I think and then for the recording, it has 20 more minutes. Everybody's cool for another 20 minutes, right? I mean, I can't get a response with you right now, but, comments help me to say, hey, we kind of want it a little shorter than this, which, granted, this is, way over an hour. So, I would understand that. Again, I probably won't get the message until, a bit after I post this, so if I'm not taking that advice, it's not me ignoring you, it's just, I've got it late, and that's more on my, fault than anything. So, yeah, we'll have like 20 more minutes just BS around for a bit, then I'll call this an episode. I'm trying to, again, think more about more scary stories that I could tell. Now, like, this was years ago. My mom's coming home. She tells us she has a sudden urge just to look behind her. And when she does, she tells us she saw the shadow, like, kind of go down her car. I guess the obvious explanation for this, it's a trick of the lights, especially if you, like, like, move your head in a certain position. Like, if you do it quickly, you could make the lights, play tricks on you, especially in the dark. So that's my explanation for that. But she's telling me she felt something follow her. So I gave probably the best advice that you should get when you're in the situation, and that's plainly to ignore it. It'll eventually go away. I really wish this story ended here and there, but the thing is, it didn't, because when she told us that, a couple days gone by, and, everybody kind of saw something weird in the house. Now, my two weird things that I saw, I would say are easily explainable. Again, like, I'm not trying to say, hey, yeah, it is a ghost. I'm trying to put my own 2 cents on what it could be, logically. So, the thing is, the first thing I saw was a silhouette of a cat. Now, I didn't think much on it, because that's normal. That's kind of normal for my house. Like, we have 3 cats. The thing is, only 2 of these cats would have matched how this one looked. Granted, the lights were out. We had a little power outage. It was dark, so anything could look pretty dark. The thing is, so the one cat I could rule out is our fat cat, Miss Kitty, and she is a very fat cat. Like, ridiculously fat. Like, there's no way this cat could be, confused for anybody, really. The other cat that it could be, well, I mean, after we cross out Miss Kitty, it's like either my cat Sassy or it's the little one Callie. I would say it's more of Callie because it was smaller than Sassy. The thing that stumps me is, after this little event, I found Callie asleep. Dead asleep. In the living room. Granted, it was going towards that general location, but here's the thing that made me think it wasn't, Callie. See, the time frame between this little event was like a span of maybe 4 or 5 seconds. And while I won't deny, yeah, cats are fast. It could get from point A to point B pretty fast. It's just like, I highly doubt that this cat could leave that area, get comfortable enough to be dead asleep with the time frame that just happened. So I highly doubt that's what happened. I mean, there's also Sassy, but that's the cat I was telling you about earlier, that one that likes to stay in my room. The reason why I didn't think it's him is, one, while he does have the general color of the silhouette, there are 2 factors that rule against him. Number 1, I would have saw his white paws. He has dark fur, except for like a white underbelly and white paws, and that would clearly have been seen in the dark. And 2, well, the thing is, he was fast asleep in my room at the time, so unless he somehow managed to run forward and run back in a manner of, 4 to 5 seconds and jump on my bed and, fall fast asleep, I don't see it being him. I mean, there's a small possibility it could be either or, but I honestly don't believe it to be the case. So, yeah, first weird experience. The second one, again, I know I bring up that the chances are the most likely for this to happen is, like, I'm just tired, which to be honest, I know that excuse is getting kind of used around a lot. It just like with what I saw and what happened, it's very reminiscent of my, like my sleep deprived mind state that I had prior to getting proper rest. I seen a dark figure at the end of the hall that just disappeared. Very similar to the one that I used to see in my room, so that's why I think it's most likely just in my mind. Not saying it's not unexplainable. Like I said, chances are it's just me being tired. But again, I don't feel tired when these things happen, and so it's kind of throwing me in a loop, really. But I guess you could be tired and not feel it, so that's another possibility. Like maybe my mind's just tired, but physically I'm not. I mean, I have a story, but that's like a completely opposite of what we're talking about. I'll share that some other time. So yeah, that's the two events that I experienced, and they weren't too major. It's just like a little weird, but nothing too like worrisome. Nothing too illogical. That's just like what I've seen. However, another little event happened with my grandma, and this one, honestly, I kind of do hope it's a ghost or it's something because if it's not, it's like I'd rather deal with a ghost than the reality of this. So my phasmophobia can be overcome with different factors. It's just it was late. I was doing dishes, and my grandma, she's calling me, so I go and see what's up. I go to check in on her, and she's confused when I go see her because she's in her room, she's laying down, and she says, "Why'd you go into your mom's room?" And I'm like, "I didn't go into my mom's room. What are you talking about?" And she says, "No, I saw you go into your mom's room with a light." And that, that kind of puts me in a little panic, just a little panic mode right there. Because one, there's no reason why I would go into my mom's room with a light unless the power's out, which it wasn't. Two, I was in the kitchen, which is far away from the rooms. So, like, it's a little, again, it's off-putting, and I know that there's an explanation, but I don't like the explanation. I prefer it to be a ghost. So, in the moment, I decided, you know what, I'm going to investigate because either A, there's something in there that looks like me, or B, there's someone in there that, is intruding, so I might as well double check. I better make double sure and not just assume it's, just, her being tired. So I go in, I turn on the light. I have with me like this little like nail hammer, this crowbar looking hammer. And I'm looking every like nook and cranny. I'm double checking and there's nothing there. It's like, in my mind, I was like, you think she saw a doppelganger of me? If that's the case, like, I kind of prefer. I mean, I know that it's an omen against me, but typically, I think you're the only person that's supposed to see it. I'm not sure what that means if someone else sees it. It's just, okay, if she said she saw me go into that room, that'd be one thing, but she told me that that version of me turned to her, smiled before going into the room. That kind of terrified me, and if I were to explain what I think is the reality of it, it's like, dementia. It's kicking in, and honestly, I really just prefer it to be like a ghost or something, not that. Okay, say it's like a doppelganger. Yeah, my life's in danger. That's fine. I don't care. I don't care if my life's in danger. I'd rather that be the case rather than, it be the alternative. So, yeah, I just went with the first option and I look around. I'm kind of hoping for, again, I'm hoping it is like a paranormal encounter because, it's a doppelganger of me. I'm pretty sure I could beat myself up. Like, I'm not afraid of me. Like, I'm sorry, you evil spirit. You chose the one person I actually want to beat up. Like, I feel kind of sad for you, but not sad enough to, spare you the untimely wrath I have against myself. But alas, like with everything else, nothing popped up. Again, maybe it's just because I don't have any real special way of looking to seeing them, because in movies, stories, there's always like something that you used to see, like a ghost or something like that. I don't have that. I mean, granted, I do have a camera on my phone. Maybe you could see it through the camera lens or something, but chances are probably not. I remember in high school, my friends, they finally got their own phones. I had like an old phone, like, just saying that my phone did not run apps, theirs did, and one of my best friends, it was like, hey, there's this app where you could scan and find ghosts, and I'm like, cool, are you gonna get it? And it's like, no, I'm not gonna tempt fate that way, and I'm like, good man, you know better. Actually, thinking about it, I could think of a couple times where something happened with my phone. This one can run apps, it has Siri on it. If she responded, I wouldn't blame her because I said the name, but there are times where she will respond, but it'd be completely out of nowhere. Like, I can't think of it. It's always random. It's never, like, on a set period of time. Like, it'd be like, for example, I could be playing a video game, not even saying the name at all, like, just playing a video game, and I think randomly, as she started talking, I'm like, the heck are you? The only explanation I could think of is I accidentally hit a button well enough for, the voice command, and it timed out, and it's responding to that, but it's still an unjarring feeling, like, when you get that, especially in the dead of night, it kind of makes you feel a little unnerved. But with that, I think that's the most explainable reason for it happening, so no need to freak out too much, right? I mean, it's a lot better than that one Alexa bug that, like, one of my aunt and uncles, not the one I mentioned earlier, but a different set, they have an Alexa in their house, and they told me one night it did come to life, start laughing like you hear on the news, and that's off-putting. Like, what the heck? I mean, look, the realistic thing is either A, somebody hacked into it, which in its own is scary, don't get me wrong, or it's like, I don't know, I think I, again, would rather deal with the ghost, because that's less of a headache than, an actual person. Yeah, but, nothing came of it yet. Honestly, if I were in their position, I'd throw it the heck out of my house. Like, you're too much of a liability, I don't trust you. I mean, okay, say you're not haunted. You're a weakness in my security system, letting a, hacker in, so no. You just delete everything, like, completely wipe you, go away. And never get anything like this again. But, like, honestly, forget about it. Speaking of, technology scaring us, I do remember as a kid, I had this, like, little, like, 2 robot dog toys that I got, and I loved them at first. I really did love them, but these things, they must have been defected, because they would activate without any prompt from me, and that scared me. And eventually, like, I was like a little kid, so of course I'm not gonna have that. This is before my whole horror phase, before I could think rationally, so I was crying to my mom about this, and she took off the batteries, and she told me, hey, I got rid of the batteries, they shouldn't be coming on anymore, so you don't have to worry about it. And I kid you not, 5 minutes later, they came back to life, and that scared me more. So she threw them away, and she's like, yeah, okay, they're gone now. It's gonna be okay. It would have been funny if they came back after that. That honestly would scare me a little more, but... Excuse me. That's somebody in my house. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I know I'm supposed to be talking, but when I'm done with this, I'm gonna check, because it looks like someone was in my house. So, first time, well, the world I talk about, like, I think it was the first episode, I had, like, this completionist world. Past me probably did not see that, so he's gonna keep doing his thing over here, but my completionist world, I have my own little house, and again in a village. That's what I like to do. I like being surrounded by, NPCs. It makes me feel like I'm in a home. But they have this little issue with going into my house and stealing my bed. So, out of pure spite, because honestly, I made their own homes. I did everything that I could to make it nice for them, but they still wanted to steal my house. So what I did was I moved all my stuff from like one chest to another, and oh wait, it's not somebody, it's the pillar. I thought some villager was taking over my house yet again. So, um, with that world, they did, and it irritated me to no end. So I decided that I'm gonna move my house, but I'm gonna move my house in a way where they can never get to it. So what I did was I built this huge tower, this humongous tower that was so huge, left a shadow of the village that I used to live in. And then I moved all my stuff from down there, and I moved it to the top. Like, it was so big that if I were to show you a map of the village, like the landmass from my new base, my new house, it would just be like a big spot on it. And if you were to look down, it's like complete darkness. Like, I had to put like a few extra torches here and there just to keep mobs from spawning. But yeah, that's me being, that was, as I like to call, me being petty. When I told one of my friends this, he's like, dude, you do realize you could have like put like an iron door or something, right? And I'm like, it's not about the means, my friend. It's about the message. You come into my home. You take my bed. And you. And then he's all like, you can't think of a third thing, can you? And I'm like, nope, I can't. But that doesn't matter. What really matters is that you sent a message. And I think I sent a clear message. Annoy me and I send you to the Shadow Realm. Literally. I'm not saying that this was just a simple tower either. It's not like a simple building. No. This was a whole landmass. Like, there was grass blocks. I had a portion that was literally a beach. I literally put a beach up there. That was hours of work. I wish I was recording it so I could show you all, but ooh boy, it was like hours of work. And then I had like a little ocean up there, because if you have a beach, you're gonna need an ocean. So that was also hours of work. I had like as many buckets as I could carry, going up and down, trying to fill it up. The thing is, I can never really properly fill it, because if you don't fill it all the way, there's some currents that just like don't do too well. So yeah, that was its own issue. But the point is, I eventually got it. I think the last project I had before the Bedrock update popped on was like a snowy project. Since I had a beach, I figured I'd get some snow. The problem was I didn't have any snow nearby me, so that kind of got put on hold for a bit. It got put on hold for a while. I also decided that instead of normal ice, I was gonna get like blue ice, and since that's only with the traveling villager, wandering villager, sorry, I didn't really get much of that either. So yeah, I think I had got a good amount after some time, but still, it took a great time just to get everything set up. I completely forgot what I was talking about before this. I think I was talking about being petty or something. No, wait, no, it wasn't being petty. I was talking about like defunct toys, how it scared me, because it's like horrifying for a kid. As a toddler, I actually had like this, Winnie the Pooh, Tigger. There's this like little Tigger toy that I had that would jump for you. Not really, but the thing is, it also must have been defective, because it came active at night. And mind you, I was a toddler. This definitely scared me. Like, it scared like me out of my skin. So that toy also had to be taken away, because they would remove the batteries and still sprang up to life. So yeah, that was all nice and fun. Sorry, Tigger, you were my favorite character, but now you're kind of horrifying me. Speaking of which, speaking of horrifying, I finally got to see the Winnie the Pooh like Blood and Honey movie, and I called it. It wasn't bad, but I would say I was disappointed in it. Like, to be honest, I don't know what I was expecting, but I was kind of expecting a little more, I guess. I don't like you like that. If that makes sense. Like, okay, I can't, I don't want to spoil anything because, if you haven't seen the movie, I'm not gonna talk about it. But just know that I felt just disappointed in the movie. And again, I'm not a critic. Like, I'm not great at giving reviews, so I mean, I do it every now and then, but it's to not be taken too seriously. Like, take it with a grain of salt, really. But like, if I were to have one thing that I would say, like, made me feel a little disappointed in it, and small spoiler, but skip ahead like to 15 seconds because I'm not gonna say. Okay, I was disappointed that the only the only characters we saw through the entire movie of the 100 Acre Wood Gang was just Pooh and Piglet. The introduction showed like there's like two others and we didn't see them, and I'm like, that's kind of disappointing. Like, you're not optimizing your characters here. And that's the end of my little critique. It wasn't that long. You probably skipped it. Hopefully I said it within 15 seconds so you didn't run into that spoiler. Again, if I did, I'm sorry. But yeah, that's why I kind of didn't like for it. It's just like that one part. The gore was pretty good, though. I'll give it props with the gore. The gore was great if you like gore. And looking at the time, I say I went a little over the 20-minute mark, but that's not too bad. Well, I think before we continue on with anything else, I think I'm just going to call this an episode. So, thank you for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time. Take care. And please, like and subscribe.